Hey, it's Stiles from Brand Content Studios. Here is your Content Marketing Quickie for the week of June 25th, 2019. Get ready to know stuff. Who runs content at your company? Somebody? Nobody? Half a person? Well, if you're thinking about how to staff up so you'll have at least a reasonable internal content capability, there are some essential roles that you should be looking at. And these suggestions come from none other than Robert Rose at CMI, who's certainly been around and seen what shortcuts shouldn't be made when you're trying to get content done. He says, why should content get any less thought put into roles and responsibilities than other departments in the org? I don't know either, Robert. How you resource content pretty much reveals whether or not you get it and how serious you are about it. Robert says this content team should be built around the purpose, creation, management, and flow of content that creates value for customers. And these pieces that I'm about to say should certainly be there in some form or another. Chief Content Officer or Content Marketing Director. This doesn't have to be C-suite, but they are the leader and champion for content, and they're a champion for the audience. They make sure everything in all the silos connects consistently to the brand story. You do have a brand story, right? And they make sure all this content makes sense to the audience. Of equal importance, a content strategy director who leads the persona work and the design of the experience. They can also make clear what technology needs to accomplish. But then there's another kind of content strategy director. They might do backend stuff like content processes, taxonomies, governance, audits, SEO strategy. Next, you might have a managing editor running day-to-day editorial and production flow. Then there's a production director, or essentially a creative director that makes sure things look great and are great. You know, creative directors always seem to come from design world, but today they need to lead cross-functional specialists. So personally, I think the days of creative directors coming from design and rarely from video and editorial, those days are coming to an end. Robert's dream team is rounded off with an audience development manager, an influencer wrangler, and a technical content manager. They're going to run the CMS, the DAM, marketing automation platforms, and all that whatnot. So you can now look at your current approach to content staffing and get a stomachache. B2B, that's where one bee tells another bee where the honey is. It's also business-to-business selling. And Marketing Insider Group rounded up some info that you B2B marketers, you're probably going to want to know. The current figure is 57%. That's how much of the buying has been done by prospects before you even get in the game, before you even get contacted. Kind of makes you think the content you have out there representing you needs to be on point. 57% is also the number of B2B marketers who said their biggest challenge is getting their target audiences to engage. Now, see, that's where you content geniuses can come into play. And you might find an open door because 30% of B2B marketers think that content syndication is their most successful lead gen tactic. 56% have upped their spending on content creation, and 60% make at least one piece of content a day. Now, it's not always video, of course, even though by the end of this year, 80% of all web traffic will be video. Now, of course, every time we look at snapshots like this, we also find some things that make us go, yikes. Only 42% of marketers are talking to their customers to understand what kind of content they even need or want. Stupid customers, what do they know? We'll make what we think they should want. Only 25% of B2B marketers are highly confident that they can quantify ROI, even though they will regularly ask for it without even knowing what they're asking for. 38% of B2B salespeople are so disenfranchised with marketing, they source leads by themselves. Don't even bother with leads that come in from marketing. And here's my favorite. This comes from HubSpot. 18% of B2B sales professionals don't even know what a CRM is. I'm a little lightheaded. I'm not sure I can go on with the next story. Nope, turns out I'm fine. I know you were worried about me. So, let's talk about video, since it will be 80% of all web traffic. Those smarty pantses at Vidyard, very cool people when it comes to using video for business, put out their business benchmark report on B2B organizations. And this info is pretty verifiable because they get it from first-party data from 324,000 plus videos that got published over the course of the year. They just kept an eye on those. Here's what we now know. Videos are getting shorter. The average went from 6.07 minutes in 2017 to 4.07 minutes in 2018. And maybe as a reward for that, audiences are watching longer. 52% watched all the way to the end, and that number goes up to 68% if your video is under a minute. B2B video viewers, they're mostly watching in the middle of the week. Thursday seems to be the sweet spot. And they like mornings, between 9 and 11 a.m. Now, for all the talk about how mobile everyone and everything is now, business videos are still overwhelmingly watched on desktop, 87%. Mobile is creeping up, but dang, maybe those B2B videos shouldn't be shot vertically. As for who's making the most video, you'd think that it's the giant companies with over 5,000 employees. And you'd be right. But coming in second are the little guys with 31 to 200 employees. What you mid-sized companies are thinking, I have no idea. More small and medium-sized companies are using kind of a mix of internal and external production resources to get their stuff made, because they know they need a lot of content, but they do want to keep the quality relatively high. More businesses are getting serious about video analytics, too. They at least want intermediate info. Well, swell, but what kind of videos should you be making? If you're like most, you're making webinars, demos, and social media videos. B2B companies are also doing explainer videos, product videos, and customer videos. And increasingly, businesses are waking up to the fact that sales needs video content to power each part of the buyer journey. Lastly, and quickly, there's a whole new world of content marketing opening up, and it's apps for smart speakers. Jay Baer rolls out some stats on just how big these Alexas of the world are being adopted. Edison says over 53 million Americans now own a smart speaker. That's an increase of 14 million in just 1 year. It's one of the fastest adopted consumer technologies ever in the history of ever. Half of all searches will be voice searches by 2020. Look on your calendar app. That's next freaking year. Beyond smart speakers, voice tech is getting embedded into everything. Car, fridge, everything. Adobe found 91% of business decision makers, they're prepping big investments in voice. 44% will release a voice app this year. So we will be talking more about that. That's the Content Marketing Quickie for this week. Okay, maybe you won't share it without getting paid, but you can at least subscribe and mention it in passing as you're talking to other marketing people. We'll be back next week.